Hello. If you're the kind of person who feels most alive at night, if your best ideas come when the world goes quiet, but you also struggle to sleep because of that same overflowing mind, this video was made for you, because creative minds often carry a beautiful curse. They don't know how to turn off, and that makes sleep feel like a battlefield. But what if the real problem isn't your sleep habits? It's the way your creative brain was never taught how to rest. In the next few minutes, you're going to discover why your thoughts get louder when the lights go out and how to gently guide your mind into sleep. Without shutting down your brilliance, this could be the night everything changes. So before we begin, tell me in the comments, where are you watching from and what time is it right now where you are? That way we can see how many creative minds are awake together across the world. Now, let's begin. You stare at the ceiling. Again, it's past midnight. The rest of the world is quiet, but your mind. Your mind is a crowded theater, the lights still on, the actors still talking, the plot still thickening. You're not thinking about anything specific, but somehow, everything at once. Ideas come uninvited, images flash, a melody you haven't heard in years hums in the background. You remember something you forgot to do, you imagine something you might do. Your brain loops through stories, questions, fragments like it's terrified of silence. You turn off the light again, roll over again, count to 10, again. Nothing works. And the worst part isn't just the insomnia. It's the guilt. Because you know tomorrow will be hard. You'll wake up foggy, groggy, maybe even frustrated with yourself. And people will say, just go to bed earlier. Or maybe try meditating, or worse. You think too much. But what if you can't turn it off? What if the very thing that makes your mind vibrant, imaginative, and alive is the same thing that keeps you from sleeping? What if this isn't about bad habits or poor discipline? What if your brain was never designed to fall asleep like everyone else's? There's something no one told you. Creative minds don't sleep like normal minds. It's not because they're broken, but because they're wired differently. The same mental engine that fuels your art, your problem solving, your curiosity, doesn't just shut down when the sun goes down. It gets louder, stronger, bolder. It becomes the part of you that paints dreams while you're still awake. And here's what almost no one understands. Creativity and insomnia often travel together, not as enemies, but as tangled twins. Studies show that people with high creative output experience more mental activity during rest states. Their brains fire in more directions. Their default mode network, the region responsible for daydreaming, self-reflection, and imagination, stays lit long after the lights are out. It's not just overstimulation. It's not just stress. It's a unique kind of neurological echo. Your brain doesn't go quiet because it's never fully off. It's always building, connecting, creating, even in the dark. And that's where the real problem begins. Because sleep isn't just about shutting down. It's about letting go of control, of curiosity, of construction. And when your brain is trained to make things, stories, songs, theories, visuals, letting go feels like giving up, so you stay awake. Not because you want to, but because a part of you believes you can't rest yet in the world. Doesn't help. Society praises the 5 a.m. risers, the early birds, the minimalists with perfectly curated nighttime routines. But what if your nights aren't broken, just misunderstood? What if the shame you feel isn't yours to carry? What if you've spent years punishing your own genius because it wouldn't obey the rules of silence? There's another way. This isn't a story about failure. This is a story about rhythm and how to find a rhythm that fits you, because your mind isn't the enemy of sleep. It's just using the wrong language. And the moment you learn how to speak to it, everything changes. No more self-blame, no. More lying awake wondering what's wrong with you. No. More nights lost in loops, just understanding insight, and a map back to rest, made for the kind of mind that colors outside the lines. So breathe and listen, because this isn't just another sleep advice video. This is the one that finally speaks your language. Let's begin. You don't fight sleep because you're irresponsible. You fight sleep because your mind doesn't come with an off switch. You know the moment when the world finally goes quiet and your body sinks into the mattress. But your brain begins its performance. It's like the curtain rises just as the day ends. Suddenly, everything you ignored while keeping yourself busy rushes in. Unfinished projects, what-if scenarios. Brilliant ideas that arrive too late to write down but too vivid to forget. And right there, somewhere between tired and alert, you feel both alive and trapped. It's not that you don't want to sleep. You do. You're exhausted. But something inside you refuses to shut the door. And you've tried. Oh, you've tried. Herbal teas, blackout curtains, ASMR playlists, white noise machines. You've put your phone down, stared at the ceiling for hours, meditated until your spine hurt. You've read the articles, watched the sleep coaches, even tried boring yourself to sleep with podcasts about tax codes or marine biology. Nothing sticks. Because the problem isn't external. It's not just habits or blue light or timing. The problem is this. Your mind doesn't want to sleep, not because it doesn't need it, but because it still has things to say, things it saved all day, thoughts you didn't have time to finish, questions you weren't ready to ask. You fall into bed hoping for silence, and your brain brings a microphone. And in the morning, you wake up foggy, heavy. Not like someone who's rested, but someone who just survived the night, and no one gets it. People say things like just relax, or try melatonin, or you probably slept more than you think. But they don't live in your mind. They don't understand how loud it gets when everything else finally goes quiet. They don't know what it's like to crave both rest and expression, and to feel like choosing one means betraying the other. But I do, because what you're experiencing isn't laziness or overthinking or failure. It's wiring. Your brain is tuned to a different frequency. And that frequency, the one that makes you intuitive, imaginative, sensitive, observant, is also the one that resists the passive surrender that sleep requires. You're not broken. You're not doing it wrong. You're just built differently. And that's exactly why this video exists. Because tonight, you're going to learn something new. Something that no one ever told you. Maybe because they didn't know how to explain it. Maybe because they never lived it. But I have. And now you will. You're going to understand why your mind keeps spinning when it should be slowing down. You're going to see the real science behind that late-night storm of thoughts and the practical, doable ways to guide it into stillness. Not by fighting it, but by working with it, because there is a way for creative minds to rest. And no, it doesn't mean giving up your ideas, numbing your sensitivity, or shutting off your brilliance. It means creating space for those gifts before the lights go out so they don't have to scream for attention in the dark. It means learning how to land your thoughts. Instead of circling the runway until morning, imagine a night where your ideas don't keep. You awake because they've already been welcomed, explored, and gently released. Imagine waking up clear, not just functional, but present. With your full mind available, not dulled by exhaustion or dragged through mental sludge. That's what we're going to create together. It's not a fantasy, not a perfect system. It's just a shift. Real, simple, honest. A shift that lets your creativity, your rest finally make peace. So stay with me. This isn't another list of sleep hacks. It's a love letter to the part of you that never stops thinking, and a blueprint to help it finally feel safe enough to sleep. You've probably been told that sleep is about routines, about shutting down your devices, dimming the lights, drinking some herbal tea, being in bed by 10, and maybe you've tried all of that. But here's what no one told you. Creative minds don't shut down the same way, because creative brains don't follow the usual patterns. They invent their own, and when it comes to sleep, that can be a problem. Let me explain. There's a part of your brain called the default mode network, or DMN for short. Think of it like your brain's internal theater, where imagination, memory, self-reflection, and creative problem-solving all happen. Most people's DMN activity slows down at night, but in highly creative individuals, it stays lit like a city that never sleeps. That's right, even when you lie down in the dark. Your creative brain is still producing light. It's not your fault. It's how you're wired. Your brain is naturally more divergent, meaning it's constantly making connections between ideas, drawing unexpected links, synthesizing meaning. This is what makes you insightful, innovative, intuitive. But it also means your mind loves to explore, especially when everything else finally stops. That's why the silence of the night doesn't feel peaceful to you. It feels like an invitation. And you've probably noticed this pattern. Your best ideas come late. Your mind feels alive when the world gets quiet. You write better, think deeper, dream louder, just as the clock hits midnight. There's a name for this too, eveningness chronotype. Studies show that people with higher creative traits tend to be more alert, inspired, and mentally active at night. Their circadian rhythms are delayed, meaning their internal clocks are naturally wired to stay up later. But here's the kicker. Society doesn't run on your rhythm. It runs on early alarms. 9 a.m. meetings and social pressure to wake up on time. So what happens? You go to bed when your body isn't ready? You lie there, awake, thinking it's your fault. You finally fall asleep too late, and then wake up too early. And the cycle repeats. This mismatch between your natural rhythm, the social rhythm, is called social jet lag. It's like living in the wrong time zone every day, and the damage goes deeper than just feeling tired. Research shows that this constant misalignment affects everything. Mood, memory, immunity, hormones. It raises your stress levels and impairs emotional regulation. You're more likely to experience anxiety, burnout, and mental fog, and still, no one tells you why. They call you undisciplined. They say you're just a night owl. They tell you to just go to sleep earlier. They never stop to ask, what if your mind works differently? Because it does. And when you start to understand that, and you name the wiring, everything begins to make sense. You weren't failing sleep. Sleep was failing to fit your nature. And now, you get to change that. Not by forcing your brain into a mold it wasn't made for, but by discovering how your creativity, your rhythm, and your rest can finally work together. Because what no one told you is this. You don't need less creativity to sleep. You need a new kind of sleep that understands your creativity. And that's exactly what's coming next. Let's rewind your night, not just the moment your head hit the pillow, but everything that happened before that. Because for a creative mind, sleep doesn't start with darkness. It starts with the last idea you couldn't let go of. You were doing something simple, scrolling, reading, staring at nothing, and then it came. A new thought, a sudden insight, a detail you missed earlier. Your body may have been winding down, but your brain was just getting started. This isn't random. Creative brains are more reactive to stimuli. A sound, color, a phrase, a memory. It doesn't just pass through you. It activates something. You connect it, you stretch it, you build on it. And before you know it, you're solving problems no one asked, writing paragraphs in your mind, composing melodies with no instrument or mentally, redesigning your life. This is the blessing and the trap. Because unlike linear thinkers, who can compartmentalize, turn off, and reset, you loop, you revisit, rework, rethink, even as the clock ticks toward to AM and the real issue. Your brain doesn't understand the difference between creation and survival. That's right, neurologically. Same systems that drive creative insight also activate emotional arousal, especially when your thoughts are emotionally charged. So when you're replaying a conversation, imagining a future, or designing an idea, your body interprets that as stimulation, excitement, even mild stress, which means your heart rate stays slightly elevated. Your cortisol doesn't drop. Your melatonin release is delayed, and your brain doesn't begin the descent into deep sleep. It stays at the edge, waiting, spinning, wandering, and when you finally do sleep, it's not always restorative. You dream vividly, you wake easily, you shift through cycles erratically, and in the morning, you feel like you never truly landed. Let's go deeper. Sleep has stages. Your body is supposed to glide through them. Stage 1, light sleep. Stage 2, slower brain waves, preparing for repair. Stage 3, deep, delta wave sleep, your body's restoration chamber. Stage 4, REM, the creative lab of your mind, where memory, emotion, and imagination swirl together in dreams. For most people, those cycles are stable. But in creative individuals, Studies show more activity during REM, and even outside of REM, meaning your brain may be too active to drop fully into recovery mode. It flirts with rest, but doesn't commit. And that's what leaves you waking up groggy, disoriented, or more tired than before. It's not just how much you sleep, it's how deeply you descend, and how completely your mind lets go. But here's the twist most people miss. Your creativity isn't the problem, it's the timing of your creativity. When you don't create space for your ideas to express themselves before bed, they show up after. They knock at the door of your dreams. They fill your quiet with unfinished business. They don't care if you're tired. They want attention, and your mind gives it because that's what it's trained to do too. To notice, to nurture, to imagine. You don't need to suppress that. You just need to redirect it. What no one tells you is that creative minds need a runway. A transitional ritual that allows the brain to close the tab, not just stop scrolling, but truly land. It's not about silence. It's about closure. Because when your mind feels heard, it's truly heard, it doesn't need to keep talking. And that's what we're going to explore next. The moment that changes everything. Not a hack, not a supplement, but a shift in how you end your day. Not by shutting off your brilliance, but by giving it a safe, gentle place to rest. Here's the truth that no one told you because most people don't even realize it. Themselves, your creative mind doesn't resist sleep. It resists disappearance to sleep well. Your brain needs a signal that it's safe to let go, that it won't lose something important by pausing, by surrendering, by drifting. But when you're creative, your ideas feel like fireflies blinking in and out of reach. And you're afraid that if you don't catch them now, they'll be gone forever, so you keep chasing. Even when your body begs for rest, your mind stays alert, not out of fear, but out of loyalty. Loyalty to your thoughts, to your insights, to the invisible threads that make your creativity what it is. But here's the shift. Your brain doesn't need silence. It needs completion. It needs to know that the story has a pause, that the idea has a resting place, that nothing will be lost if it steps away for a while. And the solution? It's simpler than you think. Create a ritual that honors your creativity, then gently releases it. Think of it like tucking your own mind into bed, because when your brain feels heard, it doesn't need to yell in the dark. This is what changes everything. You don't have to suppress your thoughts. You don't have to numb yourself with sleep aids. You don't have to force your mind into stillness like it's a punishment. You just need to give it closure, something as simple as 10 minutes of free writing before bed, dumping every stray thought, idea, or insight into a journal without judgment can shift your brain from alert to safe, or using a creative wind-down. Playlist that marks the end of input. A candle you only light when the day is done. A soft voice memo to yourself, recording whatever came to mind and letting it live outside your body. Because here's the magic. Your mind doesn't need to stop being creative to sleep. It just needs a place to leave what it's holding. And the moment you do that, the moment your mind feels seen and honored, it exhales. That's when sleep begins. Not from silence, but from trust. Trust that the ideas will still be there. Tomorrow, trust that nothing important will vanish while you rest. Trust that rest. Self is part of the creative process. Because what if the most brilliant thing you could do for your creativity was to stop carrying it all night long? What if rest wasn't a break from your gift, but a gift to your gift? This is the twist no one teaches. Sleep is not your enemy, it's your collaborator. And the moment you start treating it that way, stop being at war with your own brilliance. You stop fearing the pause, and you start rising with energy, clarity, and even more creative power than before. Let's take this out of theory and into your bedroom. Because what you just learned doesn't mean much unless it becomes part of your night. And no, this isn't about overhauling your life, turning off your creativity, or pretending to be someone you're not. It's about creating space for your mind to breathe so that it no longer needs to stay awake to survive. And it starts with one small principle. Creative minds need ritual, not restriction. So tonight, try this. Before you even think about sleep, give your brain a moment to land. 10 minutes. That's all. Grab a notebook or open a voice recorder and do a brain dump. No structure. No goals. Just release. Write whatevers. Floating a sentence. A poem. A task. A fear. A fragment of a melody. A drawing. Nonsense thought. This isn't for. It's productivity. It's for closure. You're not writing to solve anything. You're writing to tell your mind, I heard you. You can rest now. Then, after that release, anchor your transition. Create a signal that tells your body it's time to shift states. Light a specific candle. Put on the same pair of soft socks. Turn off the bright lights and leave just one lamp on. Play a playlist designed only for this moment. Gentle, familiar, stimulating. This repetition matters because the creative mind responds to rhythm even more than logic, and by doing the same simple steps each night. Building a bridge between stimulation and stillness, you're teaching your brain that nothing urgent is about to happen. No breakthroughs. No demands. No need to stay alert, and if you still feel that mental pull, the one that wants to keep thinking, try whispering this thought to yourself. If it's worth remembering, it will come back tomorrow. That's not a lie. What's neuroscience? When you release a thought intentionally, especially by writing it down, your brain stores it more efficiently. And paradoxically, the less you cling, the more your mind retrieves it later. Now, one more thing. Avoid giving your mind new fuel right before bed. That means no stimulating input. It's no news, no emotionally charged videos, no deep dive research. Remember, your brain is always listening, and when you feed it something interesting, it thinks it's being invited to build. Instead, choose stillness or gentle imagination, like visualizing a quiet scene where your thoughts drift like clouds, not storms. Let go of trying to sleep. Just create the conditions. Sleep will come when the stage is set, not when it's forced. And in the morning, don't jolt yourself awake. Resist the snooze button, but also resist the shame. Sit up. Let the light touch your face. Step outside. Even for a minute. Tell your body, we made it through the night, and now we rise together. This isn't about being perfect. It's about being predictable in a way that your nervous system can trust. Because when your brain to expect, it stops trying to stay in control, and when your creativity has a place to land, it doesn't need to fight your rest. Tonight, let your mind be heard, and then let it be held. That's all it's been asking for. What if your struggle with sleep was never a flaw, but a sign of how deeply alive your mind really is? What if your restless nights weren't proof that you're broken, but proof that you care, that you feel, that you create, even in the dark? We're never meant to sleep like everyone else, because you don't think like everyone, else you don't see like everyone else. But that doesn't mean rest isn't for you. It means your rest has to look different, more intentional, more gentle, more yours, because you deserve to wake up feeling whole. You deserve mornings that don't feel like recovery. You deserve a rhythm that works with your mind, not against it. And most of all, you deserve to stop blaming yourself for a brain that's simply wired to light up the world. So tonight, when the thoughts begin to stir, don't fight them, acknowledge them, then guide them softly. Slowly, to the edge of the stage, let them take their bow and let the curtain fall. Sleep. It's in your silence. It's your standing ovation. And tomorrow, you rise, not as someone who battled through the night, but as someone finally made peace with their mind. You're not too much. You're not too wired. You're not doing it wrong. You're just a creative soul learning how to rest without dimming the light, and that is a beautiful beginning. You made it to the end, and that already says something powerful, because even if your mind tends to wander, even if your nights feel heavy or chaotic, a part of you still believes there's another way, a way to sleep without silencing who you are, a way to rest without losing what makes you brilliant. Tonight, you don't need to fix everything. You just need to begin with one small shift, with one new rhythm your mind can trust. And if this video spoke to you, even just a little, I'd love to know. Have you ever felt like your creativity was the reason you couldn't sleep? Tell me your experience in the comments, and if you don't want to miss the next time we talk about sleep, the brain, and the secrets no one tells you, subscribe to the channel and stay close. This space was created for minds like yours. Now breathe, and let the night take care of you.